It's a poison. That doesn't help the stress level. No, don't do it. Get a grip. This stupid video I just showed you. I almost stroked out and died over it. You're watching a different show. It's donkey. You ain't a captain of nothing but a sinking ship. Don't do this to me, Harry. The Ohio State. It's Ohio State. What do you mean, the? 312-988-15.
Hello?
You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. Sometimes it's good to just yell about football. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Welcome in. Welcome back, folks. What a good Notre Dame weekend, man. That's where I'm going to start. Just what a good Notre Dame weekend. I am, I say this rarely because it happens rarely. Rarely do you as a Notre Dame fan find yourself in a spot where you can crow a little bit and have a good weekend and laugh at some other people that are miserable and you get the big win you needed. It's rare. And so I don't feel the least bit bad for all Notre Dame people leaning into this thing. You had a hell of a good weekend. And it makes it more fulfilling when you see all of the misery going on around college football. There are some miserable programs, miserable fan bases, miserable media contingents. And I love it. So I don't feel bad at all. Whenever anything bad happens to Notre Dame, we take all the crap. People troll me. Everybody's miserable, whatever. When you get a chance to lean in on one and you got this bye, you can enjoy it. Feel free, you guys. Don't feel bad at all. So I know I don't. And Notre Dame had a good weekend. You saved this season. Quite frankly, you saved this season. And it's just Lincoln Riley and Chad really wanted and needed this one. That's like, it's been in my mind all weekend. Chad and Lincoln Riley really wanted and needed this one. This was an opportunity to show they were different. The program was different. And it ended up the same as it always was. Notre Dame runs the ball for a lot, plays good defense. You win the football game, you beat USC. Same as it always was. Weak Pac-12, whatever you want to call it. Whatever you want to call it. So, fantastic weekend for Notre Dame. And you got to enjoy it. Now, I already see the Go Canes. Johnny, we took the L. Yeah, that if you want to look at something that didn't help Notre Dame, as much as Notre Dame people like to root against Miami, you kind of wanted them to win, to be quite honest. So, not ideal. But again, that is the trappiest thing of all time for Miami. A sleepy home game on not even a Saturday night, a Friday night home game, 15 people in the stands, and a Louisville team that just feels like they're always on the looking to upset somebody and ruin their year coming to town. It was the perfect trap for Miami, and they walked right into it. And all of it, just barely any fans. The weirdness of the Friday thing, turning the ball over 4 times. Andrew's got a good point. You either wanted them to be undefeated and run it, and it makes Notre Dame look good by that loss, I guess. Or they need to totally fall apart and lose 3 or 4 games, and then you move up ahead of them anyways or whatever. Like one or the other, but in the middle doesn't help. So that's a little interesting. How can any game be sleepy when it's a night game and you're number 2 in the country? I'll tell you how. It's a Friday night, which automatically makes the college football vibe weird. Any Friday night college game, automatically the vibe is different. The vibe is off. I'm telling you, it just is. Automatically. Think about it, you guys. rather than a relaxing Saturday tailgate all day where everybody's drinking and building up the momentum for the night game. What do you have? People leaving work in rush hour to get over to the stadium for the game, and they're in a bad mood because they worked all day and they're in a hurry or whatever. I'm telling you, the whole vibe is off on those Friday games. Just that alone, I'm saying, makes a difference. I got to deal with Miami traffic and leave my stupid office early to try and get there for the game. And it's Friday and I'm in all the regular traffic, but I'm going to the game. I'm telling you, all that stuff adds up. It matters. 10-2 Miami gets in over us. Shouldn't they? If we're both 10-2 and they beat us, I can't really argue with that, right? Like, how can Notre Dame people argue that unless you want to go with, yeah, we lost to them, but it was week 1. Now we're a better team than them now. But it's a tough argument when you lose the head-to-head. So it's it's just great weekend for Notre Dame. Once I got my writing going and did all the stuff, got done with all my post-game work, last night I had a chance to view some media around the country. It's so much fun to watch. It's so much fun to watch, man. Just the from the LSU stuff to you guys, look at what you have going on here. The Penn State stuff, the Florida stuff, the Florida State stuff, the LSU stuff, the Clemson stuff, the Arkansas situation, Auburn, Wisconsin. You got a bunch of people that are in a bad spot with some big name brand helmets that are absolutely miserable, struggling to find answers. I mean, I know you're upset you lost 2 games. I'm upset about them too, but man, you had a good weekend. So lean into it and enjoy it. That's what I'm doing. And I got a question we're going to get into about all these teams that are struggling and stuff. I have some real questions that I want to ask about that. As well as the playoff thing. We already have a debate here of 10-2 Notre Dame a lock or not. And it is pretty 50-50. There's a bunch of folks that believe 10-2 and you're in. And other people are saying, I don't know. Let's see what it looks like. I got a video coming out tomorrow addressing this exact issue and the way I think it might go. So let's get into this. I see some of the regulars in the chat. There's some new people asking, what's that link? If you want to jump in, we'll put the link here. Let's see. Boom. There's the link. Click it and tell Johnny what you think. See what I did there? There's a rhyme for everything other than Kleenex and orange. So if you want to jump in, click the link, select the audio only, and then we'll pop you up just like a call. I can have 10 or 15 people backstage on hold waiting. I see many of you already. We'll get to you. So thanks for being here on a Monday, a Victory Monday, by the way. As always, you can find the program on, show us your link. We want to see your link. As always, sorry, you guys, I'm in a good mood. Can you give me a break? I'm in a good mood for once. As always, you can find the program on YouTube. Do hit subscribe if you haven't yet. Appreciate it. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps Yanni out as well. Notifications on. You don't miss nothing. Twitter, search bar Always Irish or Always Irish Inc. Emails, Always Irish ND. Yeah, there is Miller Lite backstage. Digital Miller Lite while you're waiting. Audio only anywhere you want it. You can get it if you're sick of my stupid face. Who is it by now? Notre Dame on SI. Read all about it. Now, here's the connection to the Notre Dame Sports Illustrated group. You are all seeing the video on social media of all of the Notre Dame fans giving USC a hard time when they were leaving the field through that 2-foot wide little tunnel, the visiting tunnel, right? Yes, something's wrong with the phone line. I don't want to talk about it. That's why we have the StreamYard link. So everybody saw that video going around social media of all of our fans giving them the USC down, boo, what happened, all that stuff, right? Everybody's seeing that. The guy in the bottom corner, the one guy in the black raincoat at the bottom corner there doing he's saying, what happened? And he's doing this, is Mason Plummer, one of our writers for Sports Illustrated Notre Dame. It's fantastic. I was doing the post-game show. I get done and I get a million people asking me, is that Mason? Yes, it was. I told him, you need to have that playing at your funeral and just run it nonstop. It's just a pinnacle moment for Mason. Leaning over the railing, saying, what happened? Get out of here. And then, but also, did you see Jeremiah Love's celebration there in the end zone? Whoa, that's not safe for work, but I approve. I approve. I like it. It was fantastic. Oh my God, what a wonderful weekend in Notre Dame land. Joe Moulter, $5 holler. Pat knows Joe Moulter from the old days. That's one of our old college guys. Can we get some loves for JD Price? Nobody else in the country does more with minimal touches than he does. Go Irish. Joe, it's good to see you around, buddy. Miss you. Hope to see you at a tailgate or a game soon. Yeah. You know things are not going great at USC when even Snoop Dogg's on Instagram talking about coaching decisions. I love it, man. Burn one and then think about what you would have done different. I absolutely love it. All right. Let me ask this real quick, and then I'm going to get to you. I see a bunch of you guys. I want to ask this question. Why are these contracts for these coaches all guaranteed? I started thinking about this. You're giving these guys 10-year guaranteed deals. Guys like Franklin, guys like Kelly. Now you want to get rid of them. Who started that? I'm not an economics major. I'm not an agent. I don't know anything about that. I'm just asking. Who started the trend that all this stuff is guaranteed and you get a 10-year deal, and if you fail, you get money to go get fired? Why is that a thing? The coach can leave at any time and go do whatever. Why are they all guaranteed? For 10 years, guaranteed. Who started that, and why is it a thing that why aren't these contracts set up that if you fail, we could fire you and you don't get money? Who started it? Somebody had to start it. And that's where I'm headed. Was it really Notre Dame with Charlie Weiss? Who started the guaranteed thing where even if you fail, you get paid? It's an unbelievable deal. And it's like, well, you only offer 10 years if you really believe in the guy and you know he's excellent. Yeah, like James Franklin and Brian Kelly, and now both groups want to get rid of those guys. So I'm just wondering why that's such a thing, because it's burning these schools and they're miserable, and then they have to come up with ways to pay out like $50 million or offset it or pay it over time. I don't know. How was the alumni party, John? All right, let's get into this. Then I'll go to the chats. And I see guys like Cotter and Bruce. I see you guys, and I know you're set up. I'll pull you up on video because I know your background's safe for YouTube. You guys are looking good. Here's the deal with the alumni tailgate. Totally unexpected. We had a really big Always Irish turnout. And I didn't know what to expect because it wasn't fully my party. And I usually do the lower level games, less stress, more affordable to get more people in or whatever. We had a totally like the core crowd that it lives local and comes to everything. We had a large group of people from all over the country that are new to the tailgates because it was USC. They flew in. So we had a big group with a lot of new people before the storm hit and everything. It was popping. Then they come over like the school, Dolly Duffy, the head of the Notre Dame Alumni Association, and her audio-visual people with cameras and microphones and stuff came over. And they said, you guys won the tailgate of the week. Here's a flag to fly and a Yeti with a bunch of prizes and gifts in it. And then they interviewed the Orange County guy who put it together. And eventually they put a little lapel mic on Johnny's chain and they interviewed me. So I don't know. So you guys, it was one of those like fake it till you make it. Like, I don't know if they knew what they were getting having my group come to the alumni party and mix it up. So I don't know if they knew what they were getting when my Always Irish group migrated into the alumni area and we were popping. And then they came over and they interviewed us. They did a big thing. Dolly Duffy raising all this money for Notre Dame. She does, taking shots with us with Brady Quinn's Teeling whiskey, like the whole thing. So I don't know. All I know is I was just thinking this is so appropriate that the official Notre Dame audio media team, the girl put the lapel mic and I asked her, can you put it on my chain link? Oh my God. What a good day. What a good day. And then all hell broke loose with the weather. There was lightning, there was rain, everything broke loose. And then the university was like, we don't want you guys in the quad during the lightning. You got to break it up. It was just a mess. So that's what happened with the tailgate. I don't know if they're going to post those pictures and all they did with us, but I'm telling you, we loosened up the alumni area vibe. Let's put it that way in that quad. Oh my God, that's fantastic. So here's some things I want to know from you guys. We'll get into this. I'll bring you guys up. I want to know, is 10-2 Notre Dame a lock for the playoff? Give me your reasons why or why not. The other question I want to know is, let's not get ahead of ourselves on Notre Dame going 10-2. Do you have any anxiety about the Navy Pit corridor? I think that's where your danger lies. And I'm not ignorant enough to overlook 93 BC, but man, BC's really bad. They're really down and they're really bad, but you can never let 93 leave your mind if you're a Notre Dame person. So you got to be aware of that 93 thing at all times. Keep that in mind as a Notre Dame person. I'm just saying that window of Navy Pit could be a little tricky if Notre Dame allows it to be. It shouldn't be, but if Notre Dame allows it to be, the Navy Pit corridor, these 5 games could get tough on you. So I want to know what you make of what's coming next. And then let me know what you think of the USC game. I love that old school Notre Dame ended up winning it their way. Playing good defense. 24 against USC is a good day of defense. All the turnovers, all the 4th down stops. And you ran the ball. And that has always been the recipe in the modern era for Notre Dame to be, maybe forever, for Notre Dame to beat USC. If you play good defense and you run the ball, dominate the line of scrimmage offensively, you're probably going to win. It's exactly what happened. Lincoln Riley has to be so upset. This was his chance to show everything's changed. We're not a soft Pac-12 team, all that stuff. And they didn't get it. And you know what else you learned? Michigan's a lot more down than anybody knew or realized or wanted to admit. That's another lesson I learned here. For them to run it 224 on Michigan tells me they're down. They're not where they thought they were. So I absolutely love it. And now you got a day next Saturday to eat Charlie Weiss's cheeseburgers. Enjoy the moment. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing, man. Watch A&M and LSU and see what happens. It's going to be wildly entertaining. No stress for Notre Dame people for once in our absolute lives. It is a beautiful, beautiful thing. All right, let's get to some of these calls. Let's see what you guys think. I got Cotter and Bruce. We'll do you guys. You can go on to your day. What's up, Pat?
Hey, Johnny.
What's going on?
Oh, it was a fun, exciting game. Wet, very wet game, but it was the wind never came like we thought it was going to come. So Obviously they could keep throwing the football. Watching the game, I had to go back and watch the game again because watching the game from the stands, I thought the defense was just atrocious. But when you watch it again on TV, especially in the second half, they looked aggressive. They looked like they're hitting hard. They obviously were causing turnovers. It seemed like a very different defense in the second half. And so I was very happy to see the way the defense responded in the second half. They seemed like a they came out with the Jeremiah Love mentality in the second half, and Jeremiah Love wanted to fight every guy on USC throughout the entire game. So that was definitely fun to watch. The atmosphere was great, even with all that rain. The stadium was rocking. It was loud. It was a lot of fun. I definitely think all the booze that they're now selling, all the beer that they're selling, it helps for sure. But it's definitely a good time.
Yeah, man, you're right about Love, Pat. He ran with this every touch. It felt like it was a big middle finger of like, not today, not today. Like every next carry, gave the message of like, no, this is just not happening tonight. No.
Well, it reminded me of the game last year. I mean, he was not going to lose. He was not going to let that team lose. And he just, I mean, he takes that, when Freeman talks about that mentality of we're out for blood, we're here to fight. I mean, he really takes it to heart and goes at it. And so he is the leader of the team. I don't think there's anyone else that can say that they're running the show, because everything he does, his mindset, the way he plays, and the fight he brings to it is a perfect reflection of the team. It's a perfect reflection of what Marcus Freeman wants. So, and everybody who's saying that he should be at the top of the Heisman list right now, I agree 100%. That man is just insane. I was sitting there watching a replay with my dad Sunday morning, and my dad's like, I just don't think I've ever seen a Notre Dame running back this strong. He's just so strong, and he just runs so hard. Like he's a beast, and I love watching him play. And Goolsby talks about this all the time. This is one of those moments, guys, where you have to watch this kid play and really just appreciate it as you watch it, because this doesn't happen all the time. He is one hell of a football player, and I'm so excited to have a few more games with him before he goes and makes millions and millions of dollars in the NFL.
Yeah, it's man, he had an edge to him. And then you mentioned the defense. Listen, Pat, they're not perfect. They're still trying to kind of find who they are and what they're going to be and put it all together consistently. There are still some head scratching things that happen or plays that are made we ideally would want to be made, or you think would the last 2 seasons, especially when regarding the pass defense. But I'll tell you, Pat, that was the number 1 scoring offense in America, averaging 45.5 points a game. Okay. Yep. You owed them to 24, and you got 3 turnovers, and you stopped them on 4th down a couple times. That is a winning effort in this ball game. And I'm just proud of those guys for fighting and through the imperfections, through some of the weird stuff, whatever the complaints we have, they did what they had to do, and I'm proud of them.
And I sat there and in the stadium, and the replays they give you in the stadium, usually it's like one quick replay. You don't really get to see what happens in full, and it's not, usually they're not great angles. And so the replays I was seeing in the stadium, I every time I was like, how can they be calling this pass interference? This doesn't even look close to pass interference. And then when I rewatched the game, I was like, okay, I could see why. Some of it was ticky tack. I still didn't agree with a couple of the calls. It seemed very, very ticky tack. But at the end of the day, it was they were probably okay calls. But still, I think back on it, Christian Gray still had that huge pick. He almost had a miraculous pick. And the defense just stepped up, even when they were giving up all these penalties. They gave up 96 yards of penalties. They give up all these penalties. They still stopped this team. They still, when they got in a red zone and their backs were against the wall, they played balls out. And it's another one of those things. Like I heard all this, the praise about the USC quarterback and how great he was and all this stuff. That guy underthrew the ball so many times. That's where a lot of these pass interferences were coming from, because they're just all underthrown passes. So it's, in the game, watching from the stands, he looked like a world beater. But then again, when I went back and watched it on replay, he was not as impressive as I thought he was. And I think a lot of that, the defensive line starting to get to him. Definitely he was hard to tackle, don't get me wrong, but he had happy feet, and he was definitely running out of the pocket more often in the second half. And that really,
what else, Pat? My number 1 priority was, what is Notre Dame going to do to slow down Mekhi Lemon? Okay, because Mario Craver burned you with A&M from that spot. Tony burned you from that spot against Miami. The question was, is Notre Dame going to get burned over the middle with that slot guy again? And Mekhi Lemon's the best athlete of the three. They did a really, really good job. They held them down. They got the turnover off them. Like, they did a good job with that. And it was just, you know what, Pat? It was a Notre Dame culture win. That's kind of how I feel about it. Like, going back to your kind of DNA, playing your good defense and running the football. Can I ask, Pat?
Yeah.
What do you make of CJ Carr? He's kind of leveled off with the passing game hype that happened in the early part of the year. Yeah. Is this a part of the normal evolution of a first-time starting quarterback, or is there more going on that he's pressing and you're worried about?
There's tape now. There was no film on the kid, so these teams didn't know how to play against him. This always happens. So I think he's fine. I think he'll be okay now that he's starting to see teams scheme against his ability and say, okay, he goes to Malachi Fields a lot. I mean, Malachi Fields was the hottest receiver in the first 3 games of the season, and now they shut him down. But now he goes to Will Pauling. So now it's Will Pauling is the hottest guy, and Faison just gets open because he's Faison. So it's just an adjustment, and he was off. He definitely was off. His passes were off. This is his first time playing USC, and I mean, you know how I feel about USC. So I'm sure there's a lot of talk leading up to that game for him. So there was probably nerves going into that game. And so it's first time playing USC. Teams are starting to, try to do things differently to get him out of his groove. So yeah, he was off. His interception was stupid. I mean, it's just stupid. It's a freshman quarterback interception. He was trying to do something when he didn't need to. They could have got 3 points there. Well, I don't know if they could have. They can't kick the football. But like it was just one of those. It was just one of those things that's what you would expect a freshman to do. Yeah. Like, even when it happened, I wasn't mad. I was like, yep, that's just what a freshman quarterback does. Yep. And as we said in the offseason, when we thought he was going to be the guy, we said, okay, we have to be prepared for mistakes like that. And luckily the defense stood up, and Jeremiah Love is a man-child, and it didn't hurt us at the end of the day.
Yeah, Pat, that interception was the prototypical like rookie mistake interception. You're panicking, you're in the scoring zone, you're rolling out, there's nobody open, you don't want to take a sack, but you don't know what to do, and you just and you're running one way and you're kind of throwing this way. It had all the markings of you just can't do it, bro. You just whip that thing into the crowd, hit somebody in the head.
I think I don't know what practice looks like, but obviously the red zone offense is starting to become a bit of an issue. If it's not a full-blown issue already. When you have no ability to trust your kicker inside the 20, and you're afraid to let him kick, and you can't score touchdowns, you put yourself in a bad situation. So, and right now, the only thing I see from opposing defenses is shut down the run in the red zone, because for some reason Carr can't make. I mean, he made that great pass to Will Pauling, but those seem
almost hit the ref in the face, by the way. That ref was right in the way he had to die. It was he led him perfectly right to the ref's head.
Yeah. So but there's I mean, again, the thing I like about Carr and why I really love the kid is he's playing as still one. I think he's still playing as one of the better quarterbacks in the country right now. Mm-hmm. And he's a freshman. Every game you go over, there are so many things that you can improve from him. But at the end of the day, it's still positive. Look, they still won that game. And the running game went off, and you had a 100-yard return for a touchdown by Price on a kickoff. So those definitely help. But he still had to make some really important throws, and he did. And so I'm very happy with the offense. I like where it is. I heard somebody in the stands complaining that Denbrock doesn't have the imagination that we thought he would. I think Denbrock does. I think Denbrock, he screwed up with the way he started Miami. He held the kid back too much. And then in A&M, he let the kid loose and he balled all out. But then, he's on tape now, and teams start to plan against him. So he has to reel him back in a little bit and make sure he's making those easy throws out to the flat, or seeing that guy running the seam. So there's a give and take. It's not Denbrock or Carr specifically. It's just the evolution of the team, the evolution of this offense as this kid learns to grow. And it's perfectly fine when you got this two-headed horse back there. Like It's and credit to the offensive line.
Absolutely.
Holy cow. Like,
Yep.
I love Love and 225 yards or whatever it was. That's awesome. That doesn't happen without the offensive line just blowing up USC. And I love to see like Notre Dame's quarterback throw for 300 yards and 5 touchdowns against USC. That's awesome. But God, the devastation there is to USC when you just run it down their throat and oh God, does that warm my heart. So
it is.
it's awesome.
I've often said this, Pat, the most humiliating experience in college football is when you know a team's going to run it, they know they're going to run it, and you can't do anything about it. There is nothing more humiliating than when everybody knows it and you just can't stop them.
You can't stop
It's man-on-man action, baby,
it's not
and
like
you're just losing the battle.
Notre Dame got to the point they're running like the same plays over and over again. They're just like, here comes again.
You're
going to do something about it? Why do we need to change? You're not doing anything. So it was fun to watch. It was great atmosphere to be at.
I know how personal that USC game is to you and your dad and your family like that. I know how deeply personal it is. I'm really glad you guys were able to be there. And I know your dad's happy and just the way this went. And Notre Dame saved the season, man.
Yeah, they did. And you know, that game, I was going to go to that game. I didn't have plans to go to that game. And my daughter, my youngest, or not my middle daughter, who's 10, she goes, "Hey, Dad, I thought I was supposed to go to a Notre Dame game when I was 10. And I was like, well, I don't think you want to go to a cold game. So we made the last minute decision to take her to this game. So it was really nice for me to be there. I had two of my daughters and my wife, and I was there with my brothers and my nephew. So it was a very much a happy family game. We even with the rain, the girls had a great time. They loved it. So it was that game it meant a lot to me from the family perspective. It encompassed to me what it means for Notre Dame to play USC and to beat USC. That's what that whole thing, even with the crap weather, it did. Real quick, let me transition to a couple things. The playoff talk. It's obviously I think Notre Dame controls their own destiny at this point. You win. I don't think what happens to Miami and what happens to Texas A&M is going to matter anymore. I think Notre Dame controls their own destiny. If they win out, they're in. That's my position right now. The ACC has a couple teams up in there. Their schedule is kind of funky. Really, none of the Georgia Tech, Louisville, and Miami. I know Louisville and Miami just played, but Georgia Tech doesn't play either one of those teams. So it's going to come down to the ACC championship. But one of those teams is definitely going to get knocked out. And there's a lot of weeks left in the season. I wasn't overly impressed with Louisville. They lost to Virginia. I won't be surprised if they pick up another loss. The SEC is going to gut itself. I'm not worried about the SEC. They're just going to keep beating each other, and that's fine. I was on an LSU chat last night. There's a couple people that are in here that were there last night and giving them the business. And honestly, I tried to make 2 points to them. First of all, told you so. The second point is, if I'm a Notre Dame fan right now, as hard as it is to say this, I need LSU to lose one game, and I want it to be the Texas A&M.
Yep.
Then I want LSU to win out. I want LSU to beat Alabama, and I want LSU to beat Oklahoma.
Because you get what you need. You get what you need out of the dynamic then.
Correct.
Right. Because then they work for you after they're already done.
And then Brian Kelly will save his job, and I get to watch him screwed up again next year.
I get what you're saying there. And Pat, the way I'm looking at this is, if you knew Notre Dame was going to lose 2 ball games, you did it the right way. The 2 first games of the year by a total of 4 points to 2 teams that are pretty darn good.
Correct.
If you were going to lose 2, that's the only way you could do it and make it work. The first 2 to theoretically good teams by 4 points. That is the best way you could possibly lose 2 and then have dreams.
I totally agree. And I think if I was Notre Dame, if Notre Dame had the chance to play those games over again, I'd bet my house Notre Dame beats both of those teams. I bet my house. This defense, we had no pass rush against Miami. It didn't even look like we were trying to get after the quarterback against Miami. Now these guys are pinning their ears back and they're going and they're hitting the quarterback. Gilmore, I totally agree. Leonard Moore I thought Leonard Moore was the best defensive back in the country last year with Benjamin Morrison on the team before Morrison got hurt. But he is a stud. He is really good. And I love what Notre Dame is doing now. They're, instead of saying you're the field guy and you're the boundary guy, they're taking their best guy and they're finding their best guy and they're saying, you guys go play football and let's see what happens. And I love that, because then it just makes it easier. I mean, obviously Christian Gray, there's a lot you got to work on there, but he still shows up. He still makes a play. It's maddening to watch. It's frustrating as hell, but he's making a play. And I think every week this team plays, it's going to get better. I'm not saying this is a team that can win a title. I'm not saying that this is a team that can actually go deep into the playoff. I'm saying this is a team that can make a playoff and might be able to shock somebody. And then we'll go from there. But right now, you control your own destiny. You can run it all the way down there. You just got to keep winning like you did last year. Every game is a playoff game from Notre Dame here on out. You just probably beat your biggest hurdle of the season. Like Navy, they moved Navy to a primetime game because Navy is playing that well. So that's probably your next one. And I'm excited for it. And I actually might be at that Navy game.
Man, this is I gotta say, for the way this started, man, Notre Dame has fought back and they've done a good job. They have a chip on their shoulder now. They're trying to prove, the first 2 weeks wasn't who they are. This was a big one, and this was like a shifting point here. Now you have the off week. So Notre Dame, hey, man, they're fighting back, and it was just a good Notre Dame weekend, man.
Notre Dame weekend.
Pat, I feel the way you do. I was able to be with my family at that tailgate, meet all the nice people, get home, Notre Dame wins, then still be able to do the post-game show and join those people. It was like a really fulfilling Notre Dame day and weekend. And man, when you get those, you just cherish them, and they mean so much to all of us. Pat, everybody's glad to see your face again and have your insight. And I always think of you and your dad.
I got pants on.
I always think of you and your dad when these Notre Dame USC games come. I know how much it means to you guys. So, hey, thank you so much for joining.
Big Jim left for a cruise today. He's on a cruise right now, a Disney cruise right now.
Pat, I don't know if I see your dad as the cruising type. I don't think he likes people enough to want to do that.
I can't believe it either. When my mom told me they were going on a cruise, I died laughing. I'm just thinking my dad and his pasty white feet sitting on a boat.
Yeah, I don't know if I see that. He might get off at the first port, never come back, just go live in a hut in peace and quiet somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good for him. Hey, Pat, go ahead and get back to work. I appreciate you taking a moment.
Later, brother. Have a good show.
Yeah, thanks.
Bye.
Have a good one. Oh, that's good. That's so good. Let's do Bruce. What's going on, baby?
What's going on, John? How you doing, man?
Good, man. Bruce, really, really interesting big weekend for Notre Dame. What do you make of everything with Notre Dame and around the country? You're a guy that covers a lot of different schools and everything. What's going on?
All right, so I got a lot of notes here I was taking while Pat was talking. I'm going to try to get through them quickly. One, that comment about the SEC gutting itself, I like it a lot, and I'm sitting back watching, but I don't think it's going to matter. I think this could possibly be the year we see a 3-loss SEC team get into the tournament. Why? Because they have that power, right? They got to do it. And also, you're not going to have big enough amount of pushback from the Big 12. And you might not have as many teams that are tournament worthy from the Big 10. So you could get, I believe you'll probably get 4 SEC teams in, because that's just how it goes. And you know how the SEC thing goes. So I totally get what Pat was saying, but it's not going to go that way. Speaking of SEC, I was very happy to see Billy Napier get fired yesterday. So that's another SEC team down the tubes until they can figure it out. By the way, watch out for Lane Kiffin making a big push for the Florida job. Either that or Ole Miss is going to throw a boatload of money at him, and I don't know if they can afford it. But I think I can probably see Lane Kiffin ending up there. But this is a Notre Dame pod, so let's get back to that. Here's the thing. People are talking about how CJ played poorly, CJ Carr, and I totally disagree, right? I think he managed the game. I think that's all there is to it, because at the end of the day, what you have is a situation where Denbrock is calling the game well. You see the running game churning it out. So why would you go away from that? Manage the game. Don't do anything stupid, which he did do one thing stupid. But for the most part, he managed the game. I don't think he played poorly. That pick was a bad pick. But what we're forgetting is that pick pretty much that same play on the opposite side of the field was a touchdown in game 1. So he figures, I can do this. I can get away with a play like this. And yes, bad decision, but this is something that had yielded fruit before. So he's saying, I can do that. I can get away with it. So I don't think we should completely excoriate the kid for making that bad decision. Now he knows better than to do that. He got away with it once, but it was one of those things. So I think he just completely managed the game. And that's what you're supposed to do when you have a running game that's churning it out the way the Irish running game was, right? Okay, so I really, this was something that I wanted to say, and I loved it. This was such a great way to end the series, if this is the end of the series. Not just us winning, but us physically punishing these guys and punching them in the face repeatedly. Like, that's what I loved about it, right? And if we're real, Notre Dame, we all know this as Irish fans, played far from their best game on Saturday and still won comfortably, like one going away, right? So imagine we left a field goal on the field. We left an extra point on the field, 2 bad red zone possessions. Like, what is that, 18 points if they connect on all that? Notre Dame played far from their best game and still, I'm not going to say dominated, but you know what? I can say dominated, and I'll tell you why. We can make an argument for it even though the game was close most of the way. Notre Dame beat Southern Cal, in almost every phase of the game. Watch, 29 carries for 69 yards, completely locks up the run game, gets a return in the special teams game. So that's 2 phases they beat them, right? They ran the ball, dominated that way, right? So offensively beat them. We took who most people believe is the number 2 wide receiver in the country, legitimate contender for the Biletnikoff. And PFF actually has him as the highest graded running back in the country, wide receiver in the country, Makai Lemon. And our guy, Leonard Moore, completely took him out of the game. Leonard Moore played more snaps in the slot. He had played, 75 snaps in the slot in his entire career coming into this game. He played, I think, 41 this game. And when covering Makai Lemon had 2 catches for 28 yards. And that would have been a lot worse if Leonard Moore doesn't whiff on that one, missed tackle and Lemon takes off for 27 yards. So really, we did a fantastic job in all phases of the game, shutting these guys down. So that is domination. So we have to look at it that way. We should finish 10-2, make the playoffs, because I get what the argument is to 10-2 and not having the strongest schedule, all of that. But what we always have to consider, those golden helmets mean something to the ad execs. They mean something to the TV people. Yep. And that is just, it's not fair, but life isn't fair. And it's one of those little things that's going to play a role in the selection.
Bruce, I can see this coming a mile away, right? You know how they do the interview with the committee guy that goes on ESPN and they ask him about different teams, why this team's ranked there, whatever, and they give their reason, right? Mm-hmm. What they're going to say is, when you look, they're going to put Notre Dame's thing up there and they're not going to have all these impressive ranked wins and whatever, right? And they're going to go, so how do you justify Notre Dame, whatever? All the guys got to say is Notre Dame's on a 10-game winning streak and they're playing like one of the best 12 teams now. The losses they had were by 4 points early in the year to some decent teams.
Yes.
All their argument for Notre Dame, even if the truth is we want that TV revenue, we know the branding and all that. They can say, our job is to find the 12 teams playing the best right now, and Notre Dame's on a 10-game win streak, and they're one of those teams. That will be the reasoning they're going to give for that.
Absolutely.
And I got a video coming out tomorrow breaking down what's coming in the next few weeks. Dude, so many of these teams got to play each other, Bruce. These teams ranked above us. They got to play each other, beat each other up, beat each other out.
Sure.
A lot of those teams ahead of us are going to lose. And you know what else is going to happen, Bruce? This always happens. You sit there in November and you go, look at where we're at. Oh, man, this team's probably going to run the table till the end. They're going to win, blah, blah, blah. There's always a few November losses no one sees coming. It's a tough part of the year. Who's able to maintain momentum and physicality late in the year? Who fades and who rises in November? If you just keep winning, you might be in a great spot.
No doubt. No doubt. Joel Klatt, actually, he has Notre Dame in his top 10. He said that on his podcast today. And he said, even for those who may argue, with the schedule and the losses, he said, there's no way you can look at Notre Dame and say the way they're playing, they're not a top 10 in the country. Talent, offense, defense, coaching, all that. They're there. Another question, not question, point. I think you mentioned this earlier, like with possible, trip games or whatever to end the season. I think Notre Dame is really getting to that point now where we're good enough not to have to worry about being upset by lesser teams. Now, that doesn't mean that, any coach worth their salt says you take every game seriously. And I think Coach Freeman is not going to allow these guys to believe it. But I think that they're at that point now where if they play at 75%, obviously you want your team always trying to play at 100. But if they play at 75%, they can beat every team left on the schedule.
Okay, now let me ask this. Where is your belief in the Notre Dame defense now? You had the rough, you had the rough start. Half the Purdue game was rough. You tightened it up. You played really good defense since then overall. Are you off the fire ash thing? Like,
absolutely.
You have comfort where you trust them? Okay, so when a game's coming on, you're not like, what kind of defense are we getting? You're more expecting to have representative good defense now.
Yeah, so I think that I was concerned, obviously, facing the number one offense in the country going into this one. But I'm totally sold now because, again, my biggest concern coming into the season was how are we going to replace the turnovers that we lost that went to the NFL. And now you're seeing over the last 3 games, 10 turnovers forced, right? So now you're seeing, okay, and it's weird because you're not supposed to ever have the mentality of living off of that. But now you're seeing that Irish defense is generating these turnovers and consistently stopping the run now. So now you're forcing the opposing offenses to do what you want them to do. So even if you're not quite as elite in terms of completely locking down the pass game, like last season, I think we were first in passing defense efficiency. We may not have that, but now at least you're putting them in a situation where you're making them do what you want them to do. And now we're seeing, as you mentioned earlier, John, the pass rush is really starting to wake up. You see Traore starting to get there. Bryce Young, haven't really seen him, pop off yet, but we're seeing the pass rush really starting to get there. And, you're seeing plays from KVA. You're seeing Drake Bowen as an absolute missile going downhill. I love what I'm seeing from the defense at Notre Dame.
And you know what else helps me with that, Bruce? Helps me have some comfort with that is, I know Carr has been kind of leveled off with the pass game stuff. But you also feel better about the Notre Dame defense if you look at the Notre Dame offense as being more diversified, where they can run it and throw it if they need to.
Yeah.
And that hasn't necessarily been a feature that we've had as Notre Dame fans. That helps in all areas because it just feels Notre Dame's not one-dimensional. They can get it done more ways, and that takes some pressure off the defense theoretically week to week.
One more thing, John. I will say this as well. I think that yes, Carr has leveled off in terms of the gaudy passing numbers, but with the defense picking up and playing the way it's been playing, he hasn't had to get into many shootouts either, right? And so it's almost like I have a good friend who co-hosts with me on my show, and he's a big Ohio State guy. And early in the season, he was like, "Man, I don't know what's up with Julian saying." I said, "Relax. The defense is so vicious that he's not having to do this, so they can bring him along slowly and kind of let him get there." Now they're starting to open it up with him. But the thing is with Carr, it was reversed for us earlier in the year. The defense was playing poorly, so he was forced to get into these throw it all over type situations, these shootout type games where we saw what he's capable of. But now they can kind of scale it back. The running game is there. They can let him come along a little more slowly. But we know also that he has the capability in a situation like that to turn it into an all-West gunfight. So I think that's the difference.
Man, this is but as far as where Notre Dame's sitting right now, man, you got to be feeling pretty good. You got this big win you needed. Now you have an off week where everybody could take a deep breath. The team can get healthier for the final run. You can watch a good slate of games this weekend. I mean, Texas A&M, LSU, it checks all the boxes of Notre Dame relevance you could possibly have in a ball game on all levels. I am so excited to just be able for one weekend to be able to chill out without the Notre Dame stress.
You're different than me on that, John, because when Notre Dame doesn't play, I do love college football, but I feel like I've got nothing to look forward to. So I get it for you just because you're so high strung with this.
It gives me a week to not have a stroke. Give me a break, dude. I just need one weekend with my blood pressure in the normal range.
Sure. I got you, man.
All right. Now, Bruce, I got to tell you, I don't
Yes,
know
sir.
if you've seen the chats.
Mm.
People love the voice. Pat says you're as sexy as your voice sounds. Everybody's loving this. Let people know. People were asking,
Yeah.
what's your channel, whatever. Let everybody know where they can find it, support you, man.
Sure. Thank you, John. You can find me on YouTube. The name of my channel is The Format Podcast. And we cover mainly NFL and NBA, but also we get into some boxing sometimes. Definitely cover, college football. I have a college football show every Tuesday night with former Big Ten, NFL, and Canadian football wide receiver and kick returner Ryan Langford. So we get on, we talk college football every Tuesday. I think you can find me on Instagram at The Format Podcast, and you can find me on Twitter at Bruce F.A. Hope. So, yeah.
Bruce, really, really appreciate you joining, man. This is
Thank you, John.
a fun little run for Notre Dame here,
Yes, sir.
and it's going to be exciting on the back end. You got something to play for. Bruce, God bless you, man. Love the family. Hope everybody's doing good. Tell your son I said hi. I love that little guy, man. He's my favorite. He's very respectful. I could tell he was raised right by how respectful that kid is, and I mean that. I'm not joking. It's a good reflection on you.
I appreciate that, man. Have a great day. Appreciate it.
Have a good one. Take care, Bruce. Man, that's a pro's pro, baby. I'm serious. He brought his kid to the tailgate one time, and the guy was like, Mr. Kennedy, it's so nice to meet you. Just the nicest kid in the world. All because Bruce is a good parent, man. I love this. And yay. You never know what you're going to get on this new kind of show. We kind of had Pat show up on video. Now we had a little episode there. This is like a mini episode inside an episode. I love it. Let me do a couple of these chats real quick. $5 holler. 10-2 ND is in. The SEC starting to get out of cupcake season. Start knocking each other out in November. Love, Heisman noise too. All right, let me ask this about Love and the Heisman stuff. Do we believe, does Love, because he splits carries with Price and touches, does that hurt his Heisman chances to rack up a ton of everything? Or do you look at it more as it's what you do with the carries you get within this system that you're looking at? Do you guys get what I'm asking? Because he's not the end-all, be-all number one back that gets every single carry or every dump-off pass or everything. And Price gets some of those. Does that take away from the Heisman hype? Or is it more, look what he does when he does get his chances, and it's magnified that way? I hope that makes sense, what I'm trying to ask. $2 holler from Rodney. All you need is love, and the price is right. Rodney, it was good to see you at the tailgate, man. Good to see you at the tailgate. Solely $20 holler. Shout out to this team. Actually had better athletes than SC, and it showed. Go Irish. Refuse to lose and finish this thing strong. What I liked most about this is everything didn't go perfect for Notre Dame. This is a rivalry game. It was heated. There was a lot of ups and downs and good moments and bad moments and all that stuff. The Notre Dame program in this game gave off the vibe to me of, we are not losing. It may not be pretty. It may not be flawless. It may not be a piece of artwork. We're not losing this game. That is the vibe this team played with. No matter what happened, we're going to make another play and you're not beating us and it ain't happening. And I'm telling you, the best part of this is how much I know Lincoln Riley and Chad needed this game. They had to show this is different this time and that this isn't soft Pac-12 USC, throw it around a lot, but if you got to do anything else to win, you can't get it done. Lincoln Riley really needed this, and he didn't get it. And I love the thought of those two losers flying, leaving rain-soaked South Bend, flying all the way to LA miserable. Absolutely miserable. It warms my Notre Dame heart. And I love it. And I love it. Sly, I'm so sorry we missed you at the tailgate, man. That must have been when the university was like, you guys got to move. You can't be out here with the lightning or whatever. I don't know if everybody left or where they all went to. We moved somewhere else. It was just kind of a mess. BC is extremely bad, but Andrew, I will never forget 93. It's the maddest I've ever seen my father in real life. I'll never forget it. Always Irish Senior lost his mind, tearing up the house. I'll never forget. It was one of my earliest memories as a kid is him freaking out during that final drive. Wasn't there a penalty on the kickoff? Where was it supposed to be? The tailgate. It was in the Alumni quad area east of Touchdown Jesus. And because it was like on the grounds, the university people came over and were like, there's lightning in the area. We can't let you be here. But yeah, it's because it was in a quad, not a parking lot. So it was like on the actual grounds. Anyways, I'll never forget that BC thing. So they're bad, but you just got to be alert on that. But that Navy Pitt thing could be tricky only if Notre Dame allows it. Only if Notre Dame allows it. So we're going to see how it goes. We're going to see how it goes. Adam, what's going on? Welcome, buddy.
Good morning, John. How are we doing, boss?
I'm doing fantastic, man. This was just such a good weekend for Notre Dame. When you look at what we did and everything going on around the country, man, like it just feels pretty good to be where we're at right now. It isn't perfect. You're not undefeated. You don't have one loss and you're in prime position. I know all that. But for where we were, this is about as good as you could get right now.
Oh, it is. You know, when you are this exhausted on a Monday morning, but it's with elation and excitement and all the different, roller coaster emotions that we were talking about after that game, it makes it all worth it because you're just sitting here saying to yourself, like, man, we went through battle, emotionally as fans and watched our team go out there and absolutely just dominate in the trenches and run all over the place for 306 yards. I mean, it was just incredible. It was an incredible thing. And I know we nitpicked a little bit here or there, but that's just the nature of being a fan. So either way, I'm waking up this morning and feeling fantastic, and with the position that we're in, now it comes down to this. Take advantage of the opportunity that we have. We need to take advantage of this. Take advantage of the time that we have between now and the next game with the bye week. Take advantage of the fact that we need to get guys healthy. We need to get them kind of, just rested and ready for this next set. And I know that the next set doesn't have any of the big time games or names or whatever, but that's the trap in itself, is feeling like you have made it and that you're in the playoffs 5, 6, 7 weeks before you're even there, so we just need to take care of business and keep moving forward.
Yeah, man, it was, it's just so fulfilling to see Notre Dame pull it off in true vintage Notre Dame fashion with solid defense and a run game the USC can't stop. It just warms your heart. It's just the biggest culture clash, and USC's mission was to show that had changed. And you know what else, Adam? I'm glad you brought this up. I forgot to write this down, but it's a big thing to me. Adam, do you remember last week when we were talking about USC beating Michigan? And I honestly think that helped Notre Dame because I think USC thought they proved they were a physical Big Ten team against Michigan and they expected to just go in and do it against us. And I think you realize Michigan's just a lot more down than anybody realized. And it gave USC false hope that they had made it and proven themselves. If we could be physical against Michigan and run it for 224, we made it as a Big Ten team now with that physical DNA. Not so fast, my friend.
100%. Hey, come and mess around, find out. And that's what they did because they came in with all the swag and all the, the LA vibes thinking that they got this and they're going to push us around and we're soft. And it's like, okay, good. Line up. Let's see what happens. And that's exactly what happened was they got pushed back, and I think when they got hit in the mouth a couple of times, especially up front, they were, I think, thinking maybe we're not as good as we thought we were, because Michigan is not who we thought they, could have been, but they certainly aren't what USC or a lot of other folks thought they might have been, and hey, it's fine with me. Keep doing that. But for the same mentality has got to be kind of switched up for us. Like we can't have that mentality of thinking, okay, we push them around, we should push everybody around. Even though you should, you still have to go out and do it. Hence 93, hence NIU, hence Marshall, Stanford, name it, insert team here. So it's just, stay on the high alert, keep doing what you're doing, and just go in with that kind of like, it was kind of like that Mike Tyson attitude. It was just, he would go in and everybody would be looking at him like, I'm going to go after this guy. I'm going to take down the champ. And within 30 seconds, they're on their back because he just knew it did not matter who it was that was in front of him. He had to put them down right away. And that's what I want to see, coming up against these next set of games.
Yeah, it's man, it's going to be interesting. Irish Colt, $2 dollar. Great to meet you at the tailgate. I was the one smoking the cigar. Somebody just said, "Is Cotter ever going to be back on the show? When's he coming on?" You must have just woke up because
20 minutes ago.
you must have just woke up because he was on video for 20 minutes at the beginning of the show. Rewind it and watch it.
Yeah.
And Adam, somebody asked what the status of the rivalry is, what the holdup is with Notre Dame and USC. Tell me if you agree with this. And you're in California, so maybe they look at it or present it differently than it is here. The way I understand it is they want to play really, really early in the year, and then USC or Notre Dame would prefer to have more of a mid or later season meeting. And I'm understanding that's kind of a sticking point. Is that what you're hearing as well?
That's exactly right. But I will tell you this right now. The fan base out here for USC is soft. It's soft. They're not, there are USC fans. There are some diehards out there, whatever. But, I've even run into some guys at like Costco or something that are wearing a SC hat. I'm like, what's up with the rivalry? They're like, what do you mean? I'm like, okay, good. Yeah. So, they just don't know, or they don't have the same buy-in to the team the way that I think a lot of Notre Dame fans do. Yeah. But from what I understand, that is the reasoning that has been given out there, has been the fact that it's a scheduling issue. To me, it's BS, because I'm sitting here looking at it like you're talking about one of the oldest rivalries as well as the longest standing and best in all of college football. And you're telling me that you're not going to continue that because of the fact that you want to put it at a different time slot because you guys decided to go to the Big Ten. Yeah. That's the reason why? Or is it more because you're scared? Because Brady Quinn brought this up. He said, what's so interesting about it is when they want to schedule it, they always have it where we come out to LA in November towards Thanksgiving, the last game of the year. They don't come to South Bend at the last game of the year. They don't come when the weather's changed and it's cold and damp or snowing or light or whatever it might be. They want it when it's 70 degrees for them. And same when they do come to South Bend, when is it? It's usually October. Yep. So, it's like right before it starts getting bad. So it's always been catering to them. And now we're sitting here saying, we want to play. What is your deal? Sign it and let's go. And they just, because of the fact that they're probably feeling like, oh man, did we make the right decision? Now we're losing the games. We have to go play, teams like Oregon and, Ohio State and Michigan and Penn State whenever they were good. And it's always something. And now they're kind of putting themselves into a corner. And so they're sitting there looking at the Notre Dame scheduling and they're thinking to themselves, well, we can't just throw them in the middle of all this. And it's like, well, you know what, man, line up and play. That's the whole point. I don't hear any of the SEC teams, complaining about like who they're signing up for or whatever. It's just like, just do it, but it's annoying.
What bothers me about it is we are the one constant, right? Like we are the one consistent thing. We didn't change our thing. So you decided to change all your stuff and join the Big Ten for more money or whatever. Those are decisions you chose to make. And now you want to complain about all the travel from the decision you make. And then we got to bend over backwards to accommodate you changing your entire way of living. We got to bend over backwards to accommodate. So like, I get that we want to keep the rivalry going, but it can't all just be on what they want.
Yeah, exactly. And this is this is where the power of negotiation and like all these different things come into play. This is where the athletic directors, and then, you know, you're going to have TV contracts, all these different things are coming in, and everybody's turning to SC saying, what are you going to do here? Because you are letting not just, you know, like the fan bases down of these two schools, but the fan bases around the country look forward to this game. I mean, it was amazing the buildup of this game this last week, and you know, like you were talking about the Joel Klatz and the other different podcasts and you know, mainstream media people, and they're talking about the importance of this game, and the, you know, kind of like how Cotter talks about, you know, with his dad and in the growing up within this game. This was it. And it's the same for me. Like, Michigan is a big rivalry, 100%. But the SC game, and probably a lot to do with where I live, you know, it's just so much more. And I feel like they're letting the entire country down as college football fan base, you know, in its entirety, and all for the greed of, well, we need to get out of the Pac-12 and move on and da 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 da. And it's like, it's just, and now they put themselves into a corner. Everybody thinks that it's going to be, you know, greener on the other side. You know, hey, good luck, Chad. By the way, you went out, you messed around and found out, and now it's not so green over there, is it? You know, and it's the same thing with SC as an entirety. Like, they're going out there and they're thinking the Big Ten is going to be the best, and da da da, and it's the two power conferences, and not so much. You know, when you start losing 3-4 games, you know, and you're having trouble filling up your stadium and whatever else. And that's another thing I was going to bring up, boss, was like, you were talking about Miami and Friday night. That was the epitome of their fan base. I mean, my God. And a lot of it has to do with proximity. Why is there only 10,000 people in the stands when you're the number 2 team in the country? Well, they only have, I think, something like 12 or 14,000 students. And they also have this stadium is removed from campus. They play where the Dolphins play, which is way far away from campus. So a lot of those kids, they can't just walk down, you know, like it is on these big time campuses like Georgia or Notre Dame or whoever, and just walk out of their dorms and go down the street to the stadium. They have to get in, you know, cabs or buses or whatever it is and travel there. And it just doesn't happen. So you have a low student number, and you know, on campus, and then on top of that, you put the stadium, you know, 30 miles away. What do you expect's going to happen? You know, and it's just typical Miami fans. And we talked about this at the beginning of the year. That first game, it was going to be rocking as if it was the championship because it was Notre Dame, and you know, so I'm just so proud of this team. I'm so proud of this, you know, this program. I'm proud of this show and what you've put on, and I'm just so happy for where we are as an entirety. I really hope that the SC Notre Dame game continues, because there's just so much tradition and history. And I think, you know, Cotter talking about the family connections and different things like that. My kids watching that game with me last night, we're starting to build that. Now, how could I sit there next year and say, sorry guys, like, we're not playing SC? And they're like, what, why? You know?
Yeah, man, this is just, it just feels damn good right now. And these moments are fleeting, and we haven't had a ton of them in the last 30 years. So I'm leaning into this one. Adam, have a good start to the week with the kids out there. And I'm thinking of you because I'm really happy all of our Notre Dame people in California got this win, man. I know it means a lot to you.
Oh, it does. And I'm wearing my Notre Dame gear out in public all over the place, have been all year. It doesn't matter. I don't care, win or lose. I'm ready for any trolling. Let's talk about it. Let's go after it. But when we win, it's that much better. Last thing I'm going to leave you with, boss, is that you talked about, you know, is it better to have Love and Price splitting the time and for his Heisman capabilities, this, that? I will say it's actually a benefit to have Price. And the reason why is because you're sharing the load. And when you share the load, Love is going to be a lot more fresher in that fourth quarter and more explosive. And you could see that in the fourth quarter when that defensive line and those linebackers are gassed. And he comes in after he's had a couple plays off because Price has been moving the ball. And then Love, bam, just hits it. And you just see him explode through. So I think he's more fresh. And he's still getting 200 plus yards. I mean, let's go, you know? So I think it's actually a benefit. Whether the Heisman people see it or not, hey, that's for a different conversation. But hey, Go Irish, Johnny. I love you, brother. I'll talk to you
Have
soon.
a good one, man. Have a good start to the week. Oh, I'm so happy for him being in California, in that area. I know how much it matters. All right, you guys ready for this? Look at this. Look who figured out the technology. WPP. What's going on, brother?
Hey, John, it's Pat from West Palm. Can you hear me?
Yeah, what's going on, man? I'm glad you figured this whole little thing out. Thank you.
John, you may have tinkered with the formula for Coca-Cola.
Yeah, it wasn't all my choice, brother. It wasn't all my choice. There's some software complications there beyond my control. So you got to get creative. So here we are. We're doing the best we can. I couldn't not connect with the people live for USC week.
Oh, I see. All right. Speaking of which, you've mentioned the tailgater. Was the tailgater supposed to be on the campus itself?
Yeah, it was in the quad. The university sets up an area for alumni club events in a certain quad. And so we were on campus in the quad east of Touchdown Jesus.
Wow, they got some serious juice in that alumni club, because to actually tailgate on the campus itself is that's pretty hard to do.
Yeah, I think they make an exception for the alumni clubs, and they set each group has their own little area. The university will set up a tent and some basic necessities. So they trying to help out the alumni groups.
Well, I'm sure the Palm Beach club had a big event, but I wouldn't know.
Oh yeah, yeah. You've divorced from that group. That's okay. WPP.
It would be the tailgater where all the food was gone.
Yeah, that's a good one. I know where you're going with that. WPP. What do you make of Notre Dame beating USC?
It's a nice win. USC's a pretty good team. They're not the USC of old, but that was a good team, good win. I thought Carr faced his first defensive coordinator that was, dead set on stopping the pass. I think that SC's defensive coordinator got a little too cute, and they thought that Denbrock would try to outsmart them by starting with the pass, and so they came in trying to stop the pass. Carr was basically neutralized, but the running backs, ran all over them. But I don't think it's a problem with Carr. I think that if you take away the pass, Carr will look like we saw, and if you take away the pass, I like to think Denbrock is smart enough to know that you can just gash the other team with the run. That's what happened.
Yeah.
Actually a well-called game by Denbrock, and that he didn't take the bait, and he kept running the ball, and the results were there.
Yeah, it was man, I was just proud of the culture kind of Notre Dame playing decent defense, getting some stops, and then running the ball to beat USC. That has been the recipe forever. And all the changes and them joining the Big Ten, all of it, it came down to the same recipe, man. Run the football, dominate the line of scrimmage, and then play your defense. And they did a good job.
Yeah, no, it was a good win. And I actually, I don't think it matters, as far as Notre Dame goes. If we win out, I don't see them keeping us out. We may even host the game, and these ACC teams that we're going to play over the next month, I don't have any respect really for the ACC anymore. And so I don't see the Irish having problems with them. I mean, BC, I'm always leery of.
Yeah.
Not just from 93, but also from 02.
That's a very good point. Wasn't that we're going to come out with these new green jerseys and we fumbled like 7 times or something?
Yeah, we had a walk-on quarterback, Dillingham, playing. I always look back on that, and with your Patreon show, I'm always reminded, like, why didn't Jared Clark start? Because I think, we're going back 23 years, ancient history, but Jared Clark was a very good quarterback, and he's clearly better than that walk-on we played back in 02. Anyway, let's not focus on that. The reason I'm calling in, John, is number one, to test the technology, because I'm not sure that I could figure this out.
You got it.
But number two, I've always believed that the Notre Dame football field is sacred ground, right? And so you know, Goolsby has talked in the past about BC players tearing up the turf and running away with it and all that. And I've always believed it to be sacred ground. And second thing I'm going to say is, I watched some interviews this past summer with Jeremiah Love, and I came away very impressed. I like the young man. I do. And there's a but coming, right, John?
I know where this is headed.
John, does the guy have to do that disgusting gesture in the end zone? John, it's not funny. This is not funny. How is this funny? John, all due respect, how is this funny?
I think it's funny because I knew when you started this exactly where it was ending, because I know you enough to know the second you started talking about respecting the field, I had a feeling where you were going to go with it. And I just think he got lost in the moment momentarily.
Well, look, his punishment should be he should get lost on the bench in the next game and sit him for a game. Therefore he could find himself as he sat on the bench. Look, I like the young man. I don't want to see ill come to him, but for God's sakes, making a disgusting display like that on our own field.
Yeah,
Look,
would you feel better if it was an away field? Like, would you not feel the same way if it was like in LA or something? Or does it have to do specifically with our field or the action on its own?
Look, I'd be less disgusted if he did it on an away field, but I'm disgusted either way. But to do it on Notre Dame football field, the house that Rodney built, I mean, I can't believe that gesture is tolerated. You know what it is? It's not even about the young man. He's a young man. He's 20 years old. It's about the coaches now. What actions are they going to take in response to that disgusting display? My guess is nothing. They'll do nothing. We're going to pretend like it didn't happen. And, the erosion of Notre Dame standards will continue,
WPP. Could you imagine? This is a wild scenario you present. Can you imagine you have a guy who just ran for 228 yards and shredded USC? He may be in the Heisman discussion. And Freeman gets up there in the presser and says, due to that dry hump on the field after the game, we're going to have to bench our best player. Could you imagine?
I would applaud him if he did that. And all reasonable people should as well. Look, I remember about 15 years ago, and I can't remember if it was Randy Moss or if it was Terrell Owens, had a touchdown celebration where he squatted down and pretended to lower his drawers.
Yeah.
And it was considered disgusting and distasteful. The Jeremiah Love thing might have been worse. I don't even know. They're in the same ballpark. But look, either Notre Dame stands up for something or it stands up for nothing. And either you can't just let players do that. I mean, what next, John? The next game he just pulls down his pants and exposes himself.
What
is that okay? Would that be okay? Is that a laughing matter?
Would you settle for nobody knows about it, but Freeman pulls him aside and says, I know you were excited, but we just can't have that. Dial it in a little bit. Would that suffice? Or does this have to be public for you?
You don't have to punish somebody publicly, but I would sit him for the first half of BC.
Well, that's punishing him publicly, though. I mean, that because everybody's going to go, is Love hurt? And then you're going to have to say what happened, that it's discipline. So that is public discipline.
No, I don't think that the media needs to be told everything. And I like Jeremiah. I've heard his interviews. I like the guy. I just can't believe he did that. And it serves no purpose. And if the SC players were taunting you, well, then punch them in the face, right? But to make a disgusting gesture in your own end zone doesn't even make any sense. What is that proving? But I don't know. I'm not sure who's worse, Love for doing it or all the idiots cheering him for doing it. You know what I mean? I don't know who's worse in that scenario, but it falls on the coaches. Look, I was disgusted by it. I like the young man. I'd like to see him win the Heisman. I don't want this to cost him the Heisman. I don't think it's going to cost him anything because I don't think Freeman's offended by it at all, unfortunately. And by the way, last thing I'll say, because I don't want to take up all your time. If Marcus Freeman tries to put a gun to the university's head again 2 years in a row for more money. I hope Bavakwa tells him to take a hike. This is getting ridiculous with these coaches demanding more money just because some other jobs open up. Hasn't it gotten just silly?
It's what I think is interesting about it. I put a tweet out about this when Penn State apparently reached out to Freeman's representation about that open job or whatever. And then you have all the articles and the podcast saying, oh, could Freeman go there? Freeman go to Florida? I saw all the pictures on Twitter of people imaging in Freeman in a Florida jersey or whatever, a Florida shirt. Just because a school reaches out to your representation to gauge interest doesn't mean you're a candidate for the job. And I'm seeing a lot of conflation with those two things. Like Freeman doesn't have anything to do with it. And Florida reaches out to his agent. That doesn't mean Freeman's a candidate. It just means they want to see if he's interested. And then he's able to use that as leverage. Those agents are sharks, Pat. Those agents are sharks. They love drumming this stuff up because it gives their guy leverage. So I don't know how you navigate it.
Well, I don't blame his agent. I mean, they're sleazeballs, and that's what they're paid to be. It's a question of honoring an extension that he got just less than a year ago. And I think at the end of the day, Freeman controls that. I hate to use the word, that narrative. And the thought of him getting another raise is just, I don't know. I'm against it, obviously. I think you should hold a coach to at least a couple years after an extension. I didn't think he deserved the last extension, I'll be honest, but to be consistent.
Yeah,
but anyway,
I have a problem with the trend of these fully guaranteed deals that are 8 and 10 years. And even if you get fired for being bad, you get all the money. Like that is, I'm just surprised that it's gone that far to where it's all guaranteed. And even if you fail, you get rich to go away. It's an unbelievable job if you could get it.
Yeah, the amount of leverage these coaches have is unbelievable. It
really is, man. You got all these schools scrambling to put together $50 million to pay a guy to not work. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, no, the last thing I'd say is, Mr. Cotter called in, and I think he was half right, which for him is a huge improvement in his analysis. He's half right in the sense that, you do want Brian Kelly to limp along a little at LSU. Now, Brian Kelly, so I'm of mixed mind, right? Because Brian Kelly turns 64 this coming Saturday. So if he gets his butt kicked by A&M and ruins his birthday, that would be a good thing. But I don't want to see him get run out of town at LSU just yet, because he's still only, and I say only 64. He might score another job and succeed there. In other words, I can't change the money Brian Kelly's going to get paid. I can't change that.
Yeah.
What I can root for is the man fades into oblivion, a failed coach. That's what I hope for with Brian Kelly. And I think that he's clearly not succeeding at LSU, but I want him to last a little bit longer, another year, maybe two, so that there's no chance another program hires that bum, that sleazeball. And right now, if he gets run out of town at LSU, somebody else might hire him, and God forbid he might have success there,
Yeah, but it is WPP. Notre Dame's on the off week, and you get to watch A&M and LSU. What an intriguing matchup for Notre Dame fans on the A&M side with Clark Lee and them beating us, and it's relevant. And then the Brian Kelly stuff. I am supremely interested to watch that game. I can't wait.
Yeah, I think you meant to say Elko. Elko's the coach.
Oh, yeah, Elko. I'm sorry. I got Vandy in my mind from their big win in my head. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but if Elko beats Kelly, that's two former assistants in a row that have overthrown their master. And it'd be nice to see that. But anyway, John, thanks for taking I'd say my call, but my click.
Yeah, I don't know what to call it, but I'm glad you figured it out, man. Thanks for joining. And WPP, never change, brother. You are your own. You are like, I never want you to change. I love the way your brain thinks differently than the usual crowd. I love it. Never change, man.
All right, man. Be good, John. Take care.
Have a good one. Think about Jimmy. cracking up. Just, you're having a good couple days when that is like the argument we're having. And I knew the second he said, I thought Notre Dame Stadium was, the grounds were special or whatever. I knew right where he was going. And it's just, you had a good week when the big problem that somebody has here is the prone bone just in the end zone. Oh man, that is a riot. Oh God, that's funny. Yeah, I don't know whether he's right or wrong. You probably shouldn't do it, but it was a riot. Rodney, what's up?
Hey, what's up, John? How are you, man?
I'm doing good, man. Just a little prone bone in the end zone. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, wait, here's my impression of him, dude. Here's my impression. Damn it, John. This whole Always Irish group, this tailgate group, they go to the tailgate, they get drunk. What kind of a representative is that of Notre Dame? I mean, I think we need to start talking about Miami. I mean, no one's talking about Miami. Let's talk about Miami.
Actually, pretty
right.
good.
You know what, though? He was right. We should have talked about Miami because we lost that one.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I can tell you are a trained actor. Rodney, what do you make of this, man? Really, really good week for Notre Dame. Good victory over USC. What do you make of it? You spent a lot of time in your life in California too. So what do you make of it?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it really, and part of it, probably all of it is really, there are so many different transplants that live in LA from different parts of the country. So you have so many influences of different fan bases that live there. There's actually a pretty, as the Alumni Club showed the other day, a pretty large portion of ND fans that are there. Believe it or not, man, I didn't get a lot of hate when I lived there because there was a lot of UCLA fans that would root for us. And
Did he get eaten by that shark or what? He was there you are. I thought you got eaten by
man,
Jaws.
I was in Martha's Vineyard in August, out in New England, and it matched up with my 50th.
What in the
June
hell
30th.
is going on?
What?
You got a bad connection, bro. You're cutting in and out.
Oh, you know what? I was getting up and I started moving. Now I'm just going to stay right where I'm at. Is it okay now?
Where do you live? In the woods somewhere that you can't move an inch?
Well, I'm sitting back down. But yeah, man, that's from Martha's Vineyard. That was at the museum in Martha's Vineyard for the Jaws exhibit. Am I on, John?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, getting back to the game. Yeah, there is a soft fan base there. They don't care the way but I get why. It's just in that Southern California region where there are so many transplants from other parts of the country. It's not the same as here, man. It's not the same. But man, I will say that game itself was that was a rivalry game, man. That felt like it. You could feel that, and I wasn't even at the game. I mean, I didn't go to the game. I went and watched it. Went and watched with my buddy. But it was you could feel it, man. You could feel it on the field. And yeah, man, Love was chirping after every single play. Man.
He was. He set the tone, and it was just, you're not beating us. Not tonight. Don't bother. It ain't happening. I'm going to make sure it doesn't happen. It's not going to happen. Every carry he had sent the message, not today, not tonight.
John, I've been wanting to say something for a few weeks here too, and I think you'll agree with me on this one. Isn't it ironic? I don't know if that's the right way to put it, but boy, or sweet revenge in some way. That day that the Sanchez happened here in the city I'm living in now in Indianapolis, that it took the honorable, the articulate, the wonderful Brady Quinn, the Notre Dame guy, to replace the thuggish USC guy out there. I just thought that was just perfect. And Quinn did such a good job.
the representation of the value system differences, it comes full circle after all
Dude,
of that.
I love, dude, it was so perfect, man. I'm like,
Yeah.
of course the Notre Dame guy has to be brought in at the last second to replace the USC guy. And I'm telling you, man, and I've always thought Quinn does a fantastic job, man, whether it's breaking down things in a commentary situation like on your show last week, or whether it's in a broadcast booth. I've heard that guy without knowing it was him talking. I'm like, this guy knows this. I'm like, oh my God, that's Brady Quinn. Of course he does. So anyway, good. I just thought that was great, man. Great job by Quinn that day coming through for Notre Dame.
Yeah, it was. And so I don't know, Rodney, what's on your mind now? Like, do you think Notre Dame is in it 10-2 if they navigate the rest of the schedule? Or do you think that it depends what else happens in the Big Ten and the SEC? Like, where do you think the reality lies right now with this team?
Well, this is what it is, John. It's much ado about nothing if we go 10-2. If it's 10-2, we're in. I'm sorry. I mean, we got 5 more games left right now. I mean, what are you going to do? They're like number 7 in the country now. And then in the last week of the season, they drop them 7 spots when they win because, you know what I mean? Does that even make sense? I mean, it's like, dude, this team's a top 10 team. I would argue probably better than that in terms of what they're trending towards. They don't deserve to be as high as some of those other teams because they have 2 losses.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, John, you got to understand the criteria is not just the resume, although that is part of it. You know, it's also the eye test. And I'll be honest with you, I think in the past, some of us Notre Dame fans, because of our, hatred, like, back in the day when Miami would be ranked higher than us or something, in the late 80s, early 90s, I would get upset by that. But, we just played this team and beat them. Miami played this cupcake. But it's the eye test, man. It's the eye test. That's a big part of it. I mean, it's how do you play in the games in which you have? It's not just, this team was ranked 5th. And how do you play in the games of which you have? It's like, and right now we are playing like a top 8 team. I mean, I don't think there's any question, right now. So I'm not worried about it, John. If we lose again, we're done. I mean, everybody knows that. Unless horrid chaos would happen, but I don't see that. But yeah, we lose, we're done. We win, we're in. I don't think there's any question. And it's the way it should be based on how we're playing. Now, if we start winning by 1 point over the next 5 weeks against every team, okay, now we got a different conversation. But I don't see that happening, John, because that's not the Freeman MO. Weeks ago, I said maybe we should get used to this. And I meant like this we get so paranoid at the beginning of the year. We're going to lose 5 or 6 games. I never saw that coming because the Freeman teams, they get better as the year goes on, and also they get better within the game as the game goes on. They're not a fast-starting team. They've shown this week after week, after year. Freeman's teams get better the further you get into the game and the further you get into the season, and now the further you get into his tenure. They're getting, you know what I mean? It really is. It's this is a coach built for playoff victory. You know what I'm saying?
There's something to that about some of the struggles Freeman's had early in the year in September, some of the home stuff even, and then they tend to get stronger and better and settle in later in the year. The challenge has always been making sure you're still in playoff position when you hit that stride in the second half.
Right.
Of the season.
Look, man,
fine as long as you're in playoff position, then you can afford that. But it makes life stressful, Rodney. You had to win all your games after week 2 last year and all your games after game 2 this year. You're making it hard on yourself.
You're right, John, but let's be honest, dude. We have it any other way. I mean, this is being a Notre Dame fan is synonymous.
I would have it another way.
Oh, I know you would, but
November with 0-1 losses. Yes, I would have it another way.
No. I get it. I'm just saying, John, look up the definition of stress and you'll see a Notre Dame emblem on the top. Come on. we know that.
Rodney, what I love most about rivalry games are the momentum and emotional swings in that heated battle. And this game had so many swings where you're like, Notre Dame's going to pull ahead by a couple scores here. Nope, USC pulls ahead. Like, it was everything you could want in a rivalry game, especially when you end up on top.
Yeah, it was a great game. It really was. And and USC is a good team. I mean, they are. Boy, it'd be great to see them knock off Oregon or a couple other, teams down the line. It's going to be, you know, I know this is kind of not off topic, but it doesn't affect us as much really. But, you know, and everything kind of is getting on my nerves a little bit. But, you know, good for them for making it this way. Is the Signetti and the Indiana Hoosiers, man, are like, who's the best team in the state of Indiana right now? I'm just saying, you know, are they going to go undefeated? Are they, you know, get into the Big Ten title game against Ohio State, and then we'll see. But I'm just saying, right now, man, you know, you got some teams that Indiana's for real, man. Indiana's for real, I think, and that'll be interesting to see if we catch them in the playoffs. Now, again, I know we got 5 games to go. Let's enjoy the rest of this, but let's enjoy this off week. Let's see a lot of teams get. I mean, Brian Kelly, man. It's so funny. You think you're going to easier pastures. Yeah. Wake up call, Brian. I mean, yeah, it's like, really, is it easier where you're going? Oh, I get more talent. I get more of that. Yeah, maybe. I don't know that that's true anymore. And on top of that, you know, this SEC schedule, man, I don't know. I don't know if he thought that through a whole lot, but whatever. I mean, I expect a couple more losses on LSU's resume. I really do.
Well, the issue is it's a tough road. You do have A&M at home, but then they go to Alabama, I believe, and then they go to Oklahoma as well late in the year. They're in the position we're in. You could get in with 2, but you can't lose 3. And the way they're playing, I have a hard time seeing them not losing at least one of these games between A&M, Alabama, and a road trip to Oklahoma.
I will say they are if they do end up with 3 losses, they're probably one of those 3-loss teams that could still get in just based on that resume right there. Like if you lose one more, Ron, you lose one more, but you got Oklahoma, Alabama, A&M. If you win 2 of those 3 and then you win the SEC title game.
I don't know if you could 3 and they might be done. And the other thing is they're not going to have the benefit of being able to fight back into get the benefit of the SEC championship bump. I think because the conference games they already lost, it's going to be really hard for them to get back.
Oh yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, I guess I was making that argument if they got in. Well, obviously if they got in, they won, they'd be automatically in anyway. So that's a good point. Yeah, I do. I mean, I don't see them. I mean, I'm just saying, man, I don't see that team. They're a good team. LSU's a good team, but they're kind of a top 15, you know, that I just don't, that resume, I don't see any way of them coming out undefeated the rest of the way. I
believe I read they're the only team that hasn't scored more than 24 points against a Power 4 opponent this year. Their offense is genuinely struggling. I don't think that quarterback was healthy. The O-line is really bad. They are struggling to move the football, and I, for one, am enjoying the hell out of it.
Dude, Clark Lee's for real, man. I mean, keep your eye, Irish fans, keep your eye on him, man, because sometime down the line, look, Notre Dame coaches don't stay here 20 years. They don't. You know, I'm hoping Freeman's here a decade. I mean, decade from when he started. I really do. But look for Rodney, Clark Lee down the line.
Clark Lee and Mike Elko both that spent time are guys that like you would trust at some point if they circle back into Notre Dame that Notre Dame fans would probably welcome with open arms. I don't think either one of them has like the demeanor of Freeman with the fans and all the pump up stuff. They just go play hard-nosed football and win damn games. That's all they do.
Oh. Yeah, no, absolutely. It's great to see those assistants doing well, man. It really is. That's really all I got, John. Great victory. Now we got some time. I'm with you, man. I'm glad we're not playing this week. I'm glad to get a break to actually enjoy the college football day for a change.
Yeah.
So,
Rodney, it was great seeing you at the tailgate as always, man. We love our main crew. You're a big part of that family. It was great to see you again.
Yeah, great to see you too, and great to see your parents and everybody else, obviously. I missed Pat somehow. I don't know how he didn't make it there, but it was good seeing him on the video today.
Yep, it was. It's a good time to be an ND guy. Have a good one, Rodney. Have a good start to the week. Dude, I can't. The WPP thing is so entertaining to me. It's so WPP. Like, I totally get it. I totally get it, and I know where he's coming from, and I'm not saying he's wrong. It's just the most WPP angle of all time. It's going to mess with my head all day. Oh man, that's good. Irish Cole, what's going on?
Yeah, let me go upstairs. You still waiting to get on? Yeah. Why does it take so long? Hello.
Hello, what's going on, man?
Hey, how are you? I'm sorry. First of all, it's great to see you at the tailgate.
Yeah, man, we
It
had
was-
a good time. We had a lot of always Irish people represent, man. We know how to have fun.
Yes, yes. It was great location. My voice is gone. I was yelling so much.
Good.
I don't know where to start. It was we just missed Joe Montana when he was coming in. We did see Tim Brown coming on the golf cart, but that place is so special, especially with the rivalry, the way it's going and everything. Whew. I don't even know where to start, but let me
Yeah.
ask you this: Do you feel that I know you mentioned it with CJ Carr? What is your opinion? Do you think it's just a learning curve with him?
I just think this is a part of the normal journey in a guy in his first year as starter. And I
Mhm.
also think Cotter's correct when he mentioned now there's a little bit of film out on Carr that defense
Okay.
can look at. I'm glad Pat brought that up because I think it's a good point.
Mhm.
Now these defenses can get a look and find tendencies, what he's comfortable with, try and take them away. I just think this is a part of that journey because the physical skill set is unquestionably there. I just think this is kind of how it goes in your first year.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. And I think another caller brought up a good point with, the fact that, look, he managed the game well. He did a good job. I'm not the biggest Denbrock fan. Um, I think he can be brilliant in some, times he can be very, very good, and other times head scratching. But I think it's symptomatic of a lot of offensive coordinators where they just get too cute, going all the way up to like guys like Sean McVay, Shanahan in San Francisco. I think these guys outthink themselves, and running the ball, you can never go wrong when you run the ball. And there was a play last week when, what was it, 3rd down and 2, and if I remember correctly, CJ Carr runs wide, and then the series is over. So sometimes you just look straight ahead, run the ball. He's not Riley Leonard, but he's still more than mobile enough to get it. And why the hell do you have him, in shotgun on a short yardage situation? That will never make sense to me. So just things like that, John, are frustrating. But and by the way, WPP is hilarious. But not only do I not care and love the fact that Love does that motion, I want him to start breakdancing after every touchdown. I want him to breakdance or do the moonwalk. I could care less. I was trying to dance at the end of the game. I was so excited, so pumped up. That's all fun.
Wait.
That's
You know what I want to say about the end of the game? Oh, I'm glad you
yes, sir.
mentioned this, man. You know
Yes.
what I literally wrote this on my note and was going to forget if you didn't bring it up. I am the first guy that gives Notre Dame a hard time on the music selection in the stadium with the techno,
Yes.
The Six Flags techno commercial.
Yes.
I got to say this. Playing California Love, Dr. Dre and
Was
Tupac
great.
after that game is a 100% A+
Troll.
home run troll job.
Absolutely.
100% great job. I give them a hard time for their bad music all the time. That level of trolling is A+ work. I tip my cap.
Johnny, I agree 1,000%. One of the things I like to see them get rid of, and I think a lot of fans would agree. Well, I'll get to the loudness in a second, but first thing I want to see them get rid of. I hate these stupid promos. I can't stand the lady on the microphone who says, "We got such and such here."
Yeah.
Shut up with that garbage. We don't need it. These human interest stories, we don't need it. Get them out of here. To me, it just takes away from the toughness of the games. They're momentum killers. They're awful. And now people may argue whatever, one way or another. They're not needed. They're the worst. I mean, this is a grown man sport. Get those damn commercials out of here. And they had the one, and there's a cute kid that was on there. She was interviewing one of the football players. Great kid. Great stuff. That's great stuff. But I feel like you need to just minimize those human interest stories because I already don't like those promos that they do.
Yeah.
They seem like they're 20 minutes to say we are ND. Has
Yeah.
nothing to do with football.
I
And
know. And,
you know?
but it's all a symptom of the modern era we live in, where the TV
Yes.
timeouts are so long, and they want to
Yes.
they want to kill that time in between while you're on commercial break,
Yes.
and then it's just getting a little tough. But if you're gonna beat USC, then you can play whatever you want, I guess.
No, you're right. And we're getting to that, and I won't be long. But with the fans, there were a lot of F-bombs being dropped, John. I'm telling you, it felt like the old Veterans Stadium. I'm
Yeah.
sitting here listening. People were really, really getting pissed off. But I love to see the passion of the fans because we all both know, watching these games for years, especially on TV, it seems like they can be subdued at times. And then, you had the band playing, and that's another thing too. I love the band, especially in the beginning when the band's playing a fight song. We got to see when the players are running through running up to go through the tunnel. That's a great moment. But I think even sometimes playing throughout the game, it's a little distracting. And the fans tend to sometimes appear to look subdued when you're watching. So we already have a smaller student body, and that's a factor too. So it's not like an Ohio State or one of those places where you have all these drunk, raucous students. So we need every advantage we can get. And it was great to see the passion and loudness of that crowd.
Yeah, it was, man, it is interesting because when you have those 30 starts against non-big brand name opponents,
Yeah.
it is really sleepy in there, kind of no matter what. But
Yeah.
when Notre Dame has these night game environments, it's a good environment for those big night games.
Really good.
Yeah,
Yes.
it is. And I don't know what that is. Maybe you get a different crowd and all the wine and cheesers give the tickets to their kids because they don't want to get back to Chicago at 2 in the morning.
Agree.
I don't know. But whatever it is, those night crowds are they're good enough. Let's put it that way.
They are. And you mentioned that, John. You mentioned that. I remember, and you remember as well. You specifically mentioned that before the Indiana game. You said you wine and cheesers don't want to get back. Like, give up your damn tickets. I remember that. You were spot on with that because, there's nothing worse. Even when we got to hear Chris Zorich speak, I got to meet Zorich. He's great guy. Got to meet him. I wanted to get up. They said, do you have any questions for Zorich? I wanted to ask Zorich, but I didn't do it. I wanted to ask Zorich, tell this crowd, because there was a mix of like some wine and cheesers just sitting out there, like, tell this crowd to get loud, because if anybody could do it, it wouldn't be me or anybody else asking him a question. It would be him or somebody that commands that respect as an ND legend. Say, look, you guys got to be loud. We need you. And it was great to see Tim Brown when he came in and on the Jumbotron, he was saying, look, we need you. Ricky Water, not Ricky Waters, Rahib Ismail said the same thing on the thing. He said, you are the advantage. So, but we shouldn't have to be told to be loud at these games,
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it is. But man, I'm a harsh critic of the Notre Dame crowd over the years. I will say that the big night game crowds are really, really a good,
Great crowd.
so I don't know, man. Good wet weekend in Notre Dame, and we got the win. Hey, thanks for calling in, man. Have a good start to your week, and it was good seeing you.
Good seeing you too, good brother, and I'll talk to you soon.
I'll talk to you, man. This is these are the good old days, you guys. WPP's mad at something Notre Dame did, and Pat and Kent are debating in the chat. It's just, don't nothing ever change? I'm having fun with this. The crowds are getting better. I'm telling you, man, it is day game. There's just not juice. There's just not juice. It's like a library in there for those day games. And then you wonder sometimes if it's like the team feeds off that and there's not a vibe. And then that's why they come out a little sleepy at first. Then they come to life later. I don't know. But the night crowds are genuinely good. It's never going to be a Penn State whiteout. Like, it's not going to be that. but those night crowds are good enough. They are. Luke Richard, is this a Commander Luke, Uncle Luke, a different Luke? I cannot hear you. Come closer. Come on, bro. He's on. Tried to bring him in. Didn't work out. My main man, Martinez. What's up, baby? He muted himself. You know what people are doing to me now, you guys, since they're catching on to this? They're going to come on audio, but while they're backstage, they move it to video, and then they do all sorts of silly things and wave to me and make weird faces and do all kinds of stuff. And it's hilarious. I can see Renee at the work site right now, and it's very, very entertaining. What's up, bro?
What's up, baby? How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, man. Big win for Notre Dame. I'm in a good mood. It's rare.
You know what, Johnny? That's what I wanted to get at, really, just to get on. Can you hear me? Am I clear? Look at this asshole.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay.
There we go. Can you hear me now?
Yep, 100% better.
Okay. Good. Sorry, Johnny. It's a little loud. Hey, man, I just wanted to call in and say you sound so great, man. You sound great. You sound terrific. I'm really happy for you, man, because first of all, the success. Congratulations on getting the tailgate of the week. You know, and like I say, man, only at Notre Dame, right, where a guy yelling about swamp ass in his basement get to, you know, have people from all over the country together. The attitudes, the images, the people, the different, you know, characters. You know, not only that, but to be awarded a tailgate, man, with, you know, with wine and cheeses from California. You know what I mean? And congratulations on that, man. I'm really
thanks,
happy
man.
for you.
It has been a wild journey here for the show, and I couldn't have done it without all you guys. It isn't just me. It's all you guys that care. Otherwise, none of this matters. Otherwise, Renee, I'm just yelling in my basement to myself.
Hey, somebody's got to hear. If somebody's got to hear you yell. But also, man, like I tell you, when I seen you at Purdue, you know, like this dude's gonna jump off a cliff, man.
Yeah.
But it's great. Hey, great win Saturday. I nitpicked a little bit, man. I did because of the decision with Carr made and continue to make those decisions on big games. But you know, Bruce kind of made me put my foot in my mouth in what he said as far as he had to kind of make those decisions early on because the defense wasn't performing as they were. You know, so shout out to Bruce. Like I said, I'll be one to quickly put my foot in my mouth with my words, man. If I stand corrected, man, you know what I mean? But all in all, man, I don't think the rivalry should end. I had a great time meeting my girlfriend's dad for the first time. I sent you the photo. He grew up right in South Central down the street. She's an SC grad. And we had a great time going back and forth, Matt, talking. And like Goolsby said it best, man, what a fun game to watch. What a fun game. Definitely on the edge of your seat type of game. What do you think, John? And you can't get rid of that for college football. You know what I mean? You can't.
Yeah, you're right. It's just, I don't know, man. I love college football so much. It's such a special feel, Renee. Nothing feels like college football. There's no sport in the world, no league in the world that ever feels like college football. And it's all perfect. I just love all of it.
No, you're right. And like you say, like I personally, it's a stress-free week for Notre Dame fans. It really is, because we hope that everybody cannibalizes each other and we move up in them rankings. But I don't know what to do with myself. I think I'm going to go get another Irish tattoo and put Onward Notre Dame right there on my rib cage. For real, bro.
Dude, you do whatever you want to do. Maybe I need to start getting some. I need to start getting some Always Irish. Maybe a face tat that just says Always Irish.
With the clover,
Yeah.
You can't get off on any exit in LA with that clover on your face like that, though. You know what I mean? That's what I tell that. Good. That's what I tell my guy. I said we can go. I was talking to Tom. I was like, yeah, I'd love to go down to a game and we all of us go. I said, remember, I can't get off on any exit in LA. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. No, you know how some dudes get the teardrop tattoo? Mine's just gonna be little shamrock tattoos instead of the teardrops.
You're gonna get the shamrocks with Goolsby's number 41.
I'm from the streets, baby.
This dude's from 41st Street. Get him.
I love it.
Hey, wasn't gonna tell you, man, Johnny, great game, man. Congratulations. Love you, man, for everything you do, man. You know, the chat, Cotter, like it was such an amazing game. As far as the CFP, like I've said, we're Notre Dame. We're one of the biggest brands in the world as far as sports go. So we're gonna get in at 10-2. If anything, if Jeremiah was gonna win the Heisman, I think he might have done it that night, because just like Caleb Williams won the Heisman for what he did to us 3 years ago. I think maybe but Jeremiah's just gotta keep looking great, keep making some of those hurdles and trucking people at the end type of moves, because people will argue that he didn't perform the best against Texas A&M and Miami. His numbers aren't right there, but I'm really rooting for it. It'd be awesome, man, if he could get another Heisman behind us, and this would be the year for him to do it. You know what I mean? So I'm really rooting for that too. You know what I mean, buddy?
Yeah, it'd be amazing. So let's see what the remaining 5 games provide and where we're at. But really successful weekend for Notre Dame. A lot of good stuff happening. People are in a good mood for once, and I just want to roll with it.
Yeah, Johnny. More than that, like I tell you, I'm glad you're in a good mood, baby. I'm glad you're in a good mood, for real. Cause I was worried about you when I met you in person. I was like, "Hey, man, I thought I was bad 8 months ago. This dude, I can't have him jumping off a cliff and taking our voice from us." You know what I mean?
It's hey, I'm gonna be here till I stroke out in the basement on a live stream, baby. So get used to it.
You better be. Hey, man, I got something for the holidays coming for your mom and your mother and your mother-in-law. Okay, send me the PO box so I could get it to you. But hey, man, until then, enjoy this off week, baby. I'm on here a little bit too longer than what I can be, because what I mean, I'm just starting to look at me like I need to push him. So what I mean, I love you, Johnny.
Hey,
you want to see my face? You want to see my?
You
All
want
right,
to see
Johnny.
my face? Who said that? You won't see my face? Yeah, very interesting. Pat brought up so many drunk people and then the language at the games, and you have your kid. I see this both ways. It's a night game. People are drinking all day. You expect some of that. You, as a fan, want your home crowd to be really rowdy, but you also don't want drunk people falling onto you from behind you or like saying MF all for 4 hours with your like 7-year-old kid there. So I see both sides of that. And even before the alcohol was legal in the stadium, one of the recent games we were at, these drunk guys behind me were falling over. One of them literally stood up, fell forward, crashed into my mom, and made her fall down. Now you're crossing the line. Like now, and my brother is way bigger than me, and he has a short fuse. And I know my brother wanted to have a situation, but like, don't get drunk and fall on my 60-year-old mom. Like, that's not going to be okay. Like, you could be drunk, but like, stay in your area. The language is the language, but when you start falling into other crowd people, that's a little too much. So I struggle with it because I want it to be loud in there and have people crazy, but I don't want the MF for 4 hours with my 5-year-old there. And I definitely don't want a fat drunk guy falling on my 60-year-old mom because he's too drunk to stand up straight. So it's like a little of both. It's a little of both, man. But whatever. I mean, that is what it is. Some people are going to say, don't bring your kids. Like, what do you expect? That kind of thing. But my brother's got a short fuse with that kind of stuff. And he was about to snap. And I'm like, dude, we don't need that. Right. Like, but he is like ready to go. But you could be drunk, but can you still stand up? Son of a buck. All right, guys, that's it. I got to get going. I got a lot of stuff to do. There's still a few people there. Remember to do the audio only. Irish Cole, sorry I missed you. Come back, do the audio. We'll get you on. This is interesting. It's a different vibe when we have a guy like Pat on the screen and then a guy like Bruce on the screen and then have the callers kind of mixed in. Interesting, different vibe for sure. Telling you guys, good week to be a Notre Dame fan. Love the energy. Everybody's happy right now. And just lean into it, man. Things are good for Notre Dame right now. So just lean into it. Thanks for the Andrew says, I'm always calm, brother. Dude, I have seen Andrew snap multiple times on people that encroach on the family or anything to do with that. A couple concerts, like you don't want to, when it snaps, you don't want to be around, bro, when it snaps. So, but nothing happened. But I didn't appreciate those drunk guys for like falling on my mom and leaning on my 60-year-old mom. Dude, get a grip of your life. Control yourself. Stay in your area, bro. All right. I love you guys. Well, thanks for the donations. Thanks for the calls. Thanks for the chats. We'll see you on Monday Night Raw with Mike Goolsby. Link in description.